Welcome to the D&D Fitness Radio Podcast, brought to you by your hosts, Don Saladino from New York City and Derek Hansen from Vancouver, Canada. In episode 64, we speak with Alana Kessler on the new documentary, Game Changer.
Derek, this is Alana Kessler.
Alana, how you doing?
How are you?
You've never met Alana, but Alana's helping me out with my nutrition. She's become my coach.
Oh, really? You need help?
I do. We can talk about that too. We can be very open about it. But I want to bring Alana on because we just did a session, and she has not seen Game Changers, which I know we want to talk about a little bit. But she is super, super, super smart. And I just want to get her opinion. And then we're going to give her a homework assignment to go watch it. And then I want to bring her back in and see how her opinion is skewed, or if it is skewed or not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you should even have her watch it there and we can see her reaction. Like just there's a couple of bits in there that were, I don't know. I think obviously the guy who made it, Cameron, is a movie maker. So he's trying to hit buttons on people, but yeah, I found the whole thing interesting.
So giving a little bit of background on Alana, she's a registered dietitian. She's a holistic, functional
nutritionist.
Functional nutritionist. Sorry, I can never say it. I get tongue-tied. Give us a little bit of your background so we can fill everyone in.
Yeah, so I'm a registered dietitian from NYU. My master's in clinical nutrition. Went on to become a yoga teacher studying Ayurveda. So I'm certified as an Ayurvedic specialist, which is the Indian science of nutrition and health. Mm-hmm. Went on to study functional nutrition, meditation, mindfulness. So now I run a concierge wellness brand that incorporates all of those methods and skills to help people optimize their health and wellness.
Which she's trying to calm me down, basically, Derek.
That's a tough task.
Like all nostril breathing. But
looking at your sleep numbers, Don, I would say that's a tough task.
Yeah,
that is what we talked about today.
They're a little off. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm having a very difficult time grasping the sleep quality portion of it. I definitely understand that when I have to get up early in the morning, even if I go to bed early, my sleep, gets cut down a little bit. It gets a little disrupted. I think it's the anxiety of knowing when you have to get up at 4:15, 4:30 in the morning. I think there's always a little anxiety in the back of your head, opposed to tonight where I can sleep till 6:30 in the morning. I'll be at the gym at 7:30. I'm much more relaxed, and I think my sleep quality improves. But it doesn't help me out. I mean, there's still 5 days a week where I'm 4 days a week technically, because it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, where I have to deal with that early wake up, and I really want to get control over that. And I've tried everything from blue light glasses to meditation to stretching, and all this stuff definitely helps a little bit, but I know for a fact that there's something a little bit deeper. Mm-hmm. It's not that simple, because even on the days where I'm really good at it, it's not like my sleep quality, according to the way that Derek and I are measuring, are going through the roof. Now, Derek, explain to Alana your sleep quality.
We both use the Fatigue Science Ready Band and the app, and
I'm using Move a lot. Remember, I'm in contract with them.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Get me in trouble.
And I would say if I score out of 100, if I score less than 94 out of 100, I consider like, okay, I'm falling off the wagon here. Whereas Don, what are you scoring on average?
I think my best has been like an 89%.
Yeah.
And this morning I woke up, and out of 10, I was at 2. But I slept close to. I gotta get it in here. Hold on, we're gonna do this right now. I'm gonna pull it up.
I think I averaged like 7.5 hours per night, and then maybe 0 to 1 wake up, or sort of awake. They call it awakening per night. So.
And I'll show you. This is so we've been using several different devices. One Whoop, which I feel like is a little bit more forgiving on my sleep quality. Fatigue Science is owned by one of Derek's friends. We've been experimenting with a little bit, and the product's not for the consumers yet. They use it with the U.S. military and a lot of Olympic athletes, but it's more something. It's a device that they just kind of distribute accordingly. It's not being sold anywhere. So it's been interesting to kind of feel. Oh, also First Beat. I just got them to send me this. Have you heard this?
Yep, they've been around a while.
I'm going to be jumping into that soon. But what's that? Thank you. You're the best. But just kind of giving you a little feeling right now what's going on. It's been saying, so look at, I'm going to show you this too, Derek. So that was last night. I got 7 hours and 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. Well, my typical sleep quality has been 5 out of 10. My bedtime was 9, 10 p.m. And now, so
how many wake-ups?
Look, I'm going to show you and then I'm going to show her.
Oh, yeah.
Which is unusual. I don't remember having any disruptions early in the night.
That looks like a barcode.
Mm-hmm.
But you see what's going on? See all the disruptions in my sleep quality?
So the disruptions are the black parts?
The blue disruption is saying that my time awake, I lost 16% of my sleep.
Wow. This
is pretty brilliant. So
that's what mine looks like. I don't know if you can see that.
Wow. And you went to bed. Oh, wait.
What time? Show it again.
11:50. Woke up at 7.
Keep talking so we can see it.
See that?
Yeah, I saw it.
So I don't. I have 0 awakenings, and then last night this is the previous night. So this was last night. So I had a few awakenings, but my 7-year-old went out for Halloween, saw some scary stuff, and she kept waking up. So then I got woken up. So her bad sleep disrupted my sleep. So
I've never seen you at a 7 out of 10 though.
I know. I was shocked. So, and I didn't even eat any Halloween candy. So I was pretty strict about that. But it still was a 94.
Let's see what I'm saying. So that's there. That's showing the awakening. So now let's go to Whoop. And it's stating that last night it says I got 759 hours of sleep and my performance was 86%, which to me there's a big difference there.
Yeah, why?
Yeah, one of them at 20%, the other at 86%. So that's what I'm curious about. Granted, this is also measuring heart rate. Fatigue science isn't. I would assume, though, that the wake-ups are probably – I mean, listen, I think at the end of the day, do I know if this is accurate? I don't know which one's accurate. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I have no idea. How do you know?
Well, you would have to go into a
you'd have to do a sleep study, a lab-based sleep study, and then
compare
against it. Yeah. It'd be interesting. You can even have home kits where they do the ECG plus, some of the other hookups. So I'd look into that too.
I wonder if I think First Beat can do that, can't they?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they do sleep analysis or.
I'll ask them that because they're giving the electrodes and sensors, and I'm wondering.
So it's not just a chest strap with the First Beat?
I don't know. I haven't opened it yet.
Yeah. Okay. Because there's a couple of different devices out there now that are like upper arm bands that do the infrared or whatever the electro, whatever they call it.
But this is why I wanted to bring this up also, is that when I was speaking to Alana about this the other day, she says according to when you're waking up, that could be determined by, I don't know if early on here, is this from my wife moving in bed because she's watching Netflix videos on her iPad and we sleep with 2 dogs. So think about that. And when I brought this up to the fatigue guys, they were like, no, it's really like it's on your wrist and it's more, but I don't know because normally this is out. But then in the 3 in the morning range, she's saying that this could have something to do with your liver.
Right.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So in traditional Chinese medicine, all the organs have different times that they're optimized for getting filtered and getting reset. So this is the circadian rhythm. So between 1 and 3 is the liver gallbladder, which basically is the detox, transformation. Liver is the yin organ, and the gallbladder is the yang organ. So
is that how you really say yang?
Yang.
I always
People
say yang.
But yang.
It's really yang. Yeah, no, you're way smarter than me, so I would assume that you knew how to say that.
Andrew Young.
And between 1 and 3 a.m. is liver. So, and all the organs are also associated with emotions. And the emotions associated with the liver are agitation, irritability, anger, frustration, kind of all these hot emotions. So if you're waking up between that time, it means there's a stagnation or there's something, an overactivity.
And I'm hot.
Yeah,
I'm waking up and I feel like that, like on my bed, like I'm not sweating, but I feel my body heat.
Yeah.
You got 2 dogs on you.
Yeah.
They're all for my wife.
Okay. That begs the question: Why would you try sleeping, like, do you have a separate bed or something you could sleep on just for experimentation purposes, Don, to see if that is the...
I'm going to be out of town Monday, Tuesday. I mean, I mean, yeah.
Where are you traveling?
I got to go to Miami.
Okay, so same time
zone? Not
zone?
Tuesday, Sunday, Monday. Sunday, Monday.
So it's at least same time zone. So I mean, I don't know if you.
And I'll be at Stanford on Thursday. Oh no, I'm going to check it. I'm going to test it. It's just never that easy of an answer of like, oh, here and fix it. Like, you hear all the time like, oh, blue light glasses and meditation and, have some warm water before bed. And you're like, okay.
Well, I'm going to segue here into the Game Changers documentary, and you should get one of those erection detection devices.
Oh, she didn't hear this. So we could talk. So, no, it was interesting. So this movie, and I'm actually very happy you didn't see it because I want you to go watch it if you don't mind.
How do I see it?
You can get it on Netflix or Netflix video. But at one point, they took 3 collegiate athletes who were eating. I think what was it? 2 of them were eating an animal diet, and they basically gave them this penis ring. That would measure blood flow and circumference. And they put them on a plant-based diet, and it showed them throughout that night how much longer their erections were.
Oh, interesting.
So suddenly it was like this groundbreaking, like
yeah, it was great how they graphed it. Like, oh yeah,
and they're showing graph like you held an erection 400 times longer, and look at you held an erection for an hour, and these kids are like, oh wow, you're like I'm the man now, and they're like all excited over it, and I'm like, holy shit. And you're a pescatarian. I am. So you eat organic. You're pescatarian. I assume you don't drink alcohol.
I do.
Once in a while.
I'm a wine girl. Yeah, I definitely do actually drink alcohol.
Yeah, but that's good. But you have it under control. Yeah, I'm good with it. 2 or 3 times a week.
Sometimes 2 or 3 times a month. Sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. So it depends. Sometimes I cannot have alcohol at all.
Yeah, no. You sound like me.
But I'm not against it. Like
I assume she has fantastic erections. So
yeah. I do indeed.
Yeah, right. Right. So the big problem the big problem that I had with this movie was, you've got this ultimate fighting champion who comes in and he's like, listen, I busted myself up training or fighting or whatever the hell you want to call it, and I just wanted to focus on improving recovery. And I went back into research and I read thousands of hours in the 6 months that I was getting myself healed. How do I cut down on inflammation, and how do I improve the healing process? And he basically went all the way back to like the gladiator era when,
that was hilarious.
He was claiming these gladiators were eating plant-based diets and they were the strongest guys on the planet. He's making all these, and the thing that gets annoying for me is I have everyone on the planet reaching out to me about this movie. You know how it is. Suddenly, like, everyone's like, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Let me watch it. And when I watched it, I just saw so many holes in it. And even a lot of the people that he was bringing on, these are like ex-Olympic athletes. Like, all right, they're already world-class athletes that were probably used to eating, the same diet over and over and over. And I want to get your opinion. Like some guys that might have been on there that might have been on that were on there that might have been on anabolics. So you have a strong man that's on there that
definitely.
I'm sorry, this guy is not going to be turning around carrying 1,100 pounds on his back unless he's taking something. Like he's not. And then suddenly, then you hear about what's his name, the professional bodybuilder, not Ronnie Coleman, Kai Green. Kai Green was one of the largest human beings I've ever seen in my life. This guy's been on more performance enhancing. So I'll pull up a picture of him while we're talking. And suddenly, like, they're talking about him going on a plant-based diet, and he's feeling great. I'm like, well, wait a second. Is it the plants, or is it just the fact that we're doing something different? Are they getting out of that routine, or are they maybe the food quality has improved? And I know I'm rambling, but they went to a fire department to overweight firemen. And they're like, we're going to give you vegetables and grains and a plant-based diet. They put them on a plant-based diet. They're like, look, your cholesterol dropped from 240 to 170 doing a plant-based diet. I'm like, this guy was eating Taco Bell 5 times a day.
Right.
The collegiate athlete was eating Popeye's chicken.
Right.
And then a chef comes in and prepares for him plant-based food, and then he feels great and it's delicious. Like, no shit. I want to get your opinion on it as I'm pulling up Kai Green. Give me your opinion.
I mean, it depends on your starting point.
Yes, I want to hear this.
If your starting point is, Taco Bell and McDonald's and fast food, and then you're going to infuse yourself into a nutrient-dense diet, you're going to start putting in much more nutrients, of course your body's going to respond in kind. It's the same thing with weight loss. If I have a client who's, 250 pounds of fat, they might lose 9 pounds in 5 days, on a diet I put them on. But as they get closer and closer to their goal weight, it slows up, right? And then, other things start to happen because the fat cells are holding, they're holding so much. So, and they're also, the more fat cells you have, the more imbalance you have with your insulin. So as your fat cells get smaller, just the ratio of the way things are going to improve and the way things are going to get thrown out of balance is going to be much more subtle, and is also going to be much more. There's going to be much more of a fine line that resonates or doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no. I get it. So you eat organic. You're gluten free, but you're pescatarian.
Mm-hmm.
So you eat fish,
mm-hmm.
but you don't eat animal protein.
Correct. Yeah.
But from you working with me, you didn't tell me to stop eating animal protein.
No, I'm not against it.
Okay, so what is there, is it religious purposes? Is it
why I don't eat animal protein?
If you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, so for me personally, I never ate red meat, mainly because I couldn't swallow it. As a young kid, my parents would find it in my mouth 4 hours after they had given it to me.
Oh, that's
They'd be like, "What do you have in your mouth?"
Oh,
and I'd be like, "Oh, I finished."
Yeah.
So I just never liked it. And then I ate chicken all the time. So until I was about 27, which was like 11 years ago. So I was eating tons of chicken, always eating chicken, and actually my skin was terrible. I was probably like 10 pounds heavier than I am now. And I'm not saying it was the chicken, but I'm saying I was eating a lot of meat, and then I started practicing this certain style of yoga. I stopped eating the chicken for about a year. I didn't realize that I stopped eating it, but I realized that I felt a million times better. My skin was amazing. I had a lot more energy, and I realized the only thing that really changed was that I wasn't eating any chicken.
Right. So it just happened to be how your body responded to that.
And so I just stopped eating it.
Why is it, Derek, I want to talk about your diet a little bit too, Derek, so I don't think you're shying away from here. But, why is it, after a certain period of time, like we start these new diets, and listen, I've done it. I've done fat adapted diets. I have tried vegetarian diets. It's been probably at least 15 years since I actually committed to one for a short period of time. You tend to experiment with, or people tend to experiment with new diets, and they feel great out of the gate,
mm-hmm.
right? And suddenly it's like, oh my God, this is it. Like I found the fountain of youth type of thing. And then after a period of time, like what I was eating, and I know every year now I'm smart enough now to know that this is going to happen when I start something new. If it doesn't change at a certain point, maybe 5-6 months down the road, maybe when the seasons change, like we were talking about, things just don't really feel as good. Like, why is that just in my head?
No, we're nature. We have in our bodies the same elements as nature has, and every person is made up of a ratio of elements that make up their constitution. Just like every season has a ratio of elements that make up the season.
Right.
That's how the seasons change. And foods are the same, right? So some foods are watery, some foods are earthy.
Yes. Now, I don't know. Sorry to interrupt, but so Derek put this up. This was out of the movie.
Oh.
So he was showing. This was the doctor showing the blood, the color of the blood if you're on a meat-based diet.
The plasma.
And black beans.
Wow.
So he was basically saying, like, all right, well, if you eat meat and higher fattier proteins, this is what your blood looks like. Is that bad?
I don't know.
Yeah, so that's my.
I found that very, like, there's shock value. You're like, oh, it's clearly cloudy on the meat side and clear.
Yeah, but no one's either saying that excuse my language, but your piss has to look like water.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's my question. Is this clearly like what if someone is on a plant strong diet where they're rotating between wild fish and they're buying their meats from a specific, local farm, or, they're even having delivered from US Wellness Meats or something, and they're getting the highest quality of foods, and they're rotating their diet seasonally, and they're using different vegetables and different grains and doing it the way that using herbs and seasoning. You're trying to tell me that someone's going to tell me that that's bad for them?
No, I don't think that's bad for you.
And the person that they're going and they're looking at the meat and the chicken, when they ask the collegiate player, well, what's your diet? Well, I eat chicken, but I eat Popeyes, and I'm not going to stop eating my Popeyes. I'm like, well, wait a second. No one said all chicken or all steak is created equal.
No.
You're deep frying chicken. Probably, I'd say Popeyes might be the lowest quality source of food you're going to get. So
this could be trans fat blood. This could not, it might not be meat. This can be saturated, or this could be the quality of the food blood. It doesn't necessarily mean it's meat blood.
That's actually a good point. Yeah, so that's kind of what. Yeah, in a way, that's what I was saying. What if is this meat from Popeyes, or is this meat from grass-fed cattle from Ireland?
It's like, to your point, I mean, I've seen people that eat plant-based diets that aren't seasonal, that aren't local, that aren't organic, and have malnutrition markers.
Right.
Get immunity issues because of agriculture these days. Because big farming is basically, basically the soil doesn't have enough nutrients, and we're just trying to get so many more crops out of the soil that actually vegetables don't have nutrition, aren't nutrient dense. And so a lot of people that are eating plant-based, and then they're also eating a lot of, beans, and they're eating a lot of foods that need a lot of enzymes to digest, like beans and lentils. They're not getting the coenzymes from the vegetables because the vegetables don't have nutrients.
Or they got Roundup in it or something like that, right?
And so then they're getting microbiome issues. They're getting, and then that's when they have microbiome issues, and that translates into, depending on your constitution, whether or not you are like a, a fiery person or like an earthy person or like depending on your constitution, you're going to express different imbalances. So you might get reflux, you might gain weight, you might get skin issues. Some people are, might start getting rheumatoid issues. Some people might start feeling lethargic. Right. So depending on your on you and your epigenetics as well, not getting enough nutrients because of the farming these days and the sustainable agriculture or unsustainable agriculture. Even if you're eating on the outside a plant-based diet, which is being touted as like the best thing ever, it's really about nutrient density. It's not about plant-based, and it's about quality over these kind of superficial terms that we're saying. No,
100%. I mean, it was it's very, I just feel like it's very obvious in the beginning when a filmmaker turns around and grabs someone that's been doing something that's not even of the highest quality.
I mean, you've been eating Popeyes and fast food.
But there's no one in that movie, and I'm not sitting here, listen, one of the women that works at my front desk, she's a vegetarian. Good for her. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Like, Zach Ziegler, who's my podcast partner over for Muscle and Fitness, he's a vegan. Great. Awesome. But to turn around and to take someone who is eating, we don't know what their nutrition was like in the beginning. So this strong man who is overweight, I could pull. I mean, Derek, I don't know if you could pull his picture up, and I don't mean to point the finger at him, but he clearly has a gut. He clearly doesn't look healthy, but his job is to lift as much weight as possible. And I don't know what his lifestyle habits were for the last 10 years. Maybe he suddenly turns around. He's eating the poorest quality beef, and he's feeling like crap. Maybe he's drinking alcohol. Maybe there's things that we don't know. And he turns around and suddenly a lot of those things change. What about the people who were on a plant-based diet that went back to animal protein? And there's a list here that I don't know if she wants me to show it, but you can't even see it, but you can see it. Dr. Gabrielle Line sent me the other day of several athletes, bodybuilders starting one with Cam Newton. Vegan diet might be hurting his play and injury and recovery. But after two underwhelming performances to begin the 2019 season, coupled with lingering mid-left foot sprains that will cost him at least 2 games. Yeah, so Gerald McCoy added lean animal protein back into his diet. Tony Gonzalez added lean animal protein back into his diet. Damian Lillard NBA, stopped veganism after 5 months due to weight loss.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is Patrick Boomanian. Why I went vegan. I get it, but look at this guy. He doesn't look like the Board of Health. No offense, Patrick. Like, I know you're a strong dude, and God bless you, but maybe his strength went through the roof because he just removed a lot of the crappy toxins he was consuming from poor.
He just unleashed energy, basically.
Right. But then you're bringing in Olympic athletes, world-class people who were top of their game, used to performing at a specific level, due to, enforced by a diet that they were always doing. So when you see that woman who was the Olympic cyclist, right? You remember this woman, Derek?
Yeah.
I think she says at 39, she was the oldest cyclist ever to stand on the podium. Yeah, she was probably shoving down animal protein. The one thing that they were saying that they were screwing up on over and over was they kept relating protein to an energy source. And they kept saying, well, protein is not supposed to be an energy source. I'm like, I've never heard anyone say protein is supposed to be an energy source. Protein to me is a building block. I've heard people say fat can be your energy source. I've always been a carbohydrate guy. I'm like, no, carbohydrates are your energy source. Is it the fact that they're not consuming animal protein, or is it the fact that the food they've been filling up on was animal protein to where they weren't getting enough carbohydrates? Because here we're all told that carbohydrates are bad. And now they're removing the animal protein and subbing that in with an energy source and fats and greens and all this healthy grains and all this healthy stuff, and their body's performing.
Well, because their hormones are normal now.
Okay.
Because their hormones are more evened out.
Or more regulated because what? Because their body's not
carbohydrates. Because they're not. Because they're storing glycogen now.
Right. Which is a big problem that I see when people do high protein diets. I'm never saying high protein, low carb. I mean, I'm not even. I don't say that. I don't know who should. I mean, do you ever recommend that to anyone?
Nope.
You never recommend high protein, low carb diet. That's cool.
No.
But if someone has to drop their protein because it's too high and elevate their carbohydrate, I consume way more carbohydrates than I do protein.
First of all, people are confused. There's a difference between first of all, there's high glycemic index carbohydrates and low glycemic index carbohydrates.
Explain this.
Right. So high glycemic index carbohydrates are sugars. Right. They're fast acting. So, that can even be certain fruits, but that can also be, that's like, I hate to say this, but like Kind bars, or even like these kind of healthy bars that that are chocolatey.
Why you hate to say this?
I don't know. I feel like
are they a sponsor?
No, but they have high levels of sugar. They have high levels of fruit sugar too.
They're really
Honey.
high sugar. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so basically, you get a burst of energy. And you get a burst of, and then you have a crash. It's really no different than a Snickers, something that's basically going to be like
just better
sugar
quality though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just better food quality.
It's better for quality. There's nuts in it, but again, for some people, nuts isn't good.
Nuts can kill people.
Yeah, for some people. And also, people don't consider food combining. So you have to consider, just to digress, food combining is also really important when it comes to
glycemic index.
Yes, when it comes to glycemic index, and also when it comes to the way people absorb nutrition. Right. So different people are going to absorb different things. I have philosophies on that as well. But low glycemic index are foods that where it releases the carbs slow.
What's an example of a low
An example of a low glycemic index food would be like a banana. Is a bit more low glycemic index-ish. It's starchier.
Oh, okay.
What about sweet potato?
A sweet potato. That's why, so starchy vegetables are very good. This is why athletes eat starchy vegetables, because they're high fiber, low sugar. The sugar gets released slowly. So ultimately, what I recommend to people a lot is high fiber, right? High fiber, and that oftentimes comes from starches. Even cauliflower has a lot of starch in it. People don't know that. It's a vegetable, but it has a lot of starch. Squash has a lot of starch. Those are carbs. Carbs isn't just bread and rice and cake. When people say low carb diet, I'm like, but you're not getting any of the antioxidants from the starches. So it's more starch. rather than carbs. People need to understand the difference.
Right. What about the misconception too when you get on these low carb diets? I mean, I was always, I don't know the exact conversion on it, but for every gram of carbs you're pulling in, you're also pulling in how much water? Like 2 grams of water or 3 grams of water. There's some research on this. I don't know if you know the answer to that, but when you actually rid your body of carbohydrates, you're pretty much dehydrating your muscle of water.
Right.
And I've seen bodybuilders. I had one of my friends who's an amateur bodybuilder competed in like the NPC Eastern. This was years ago, and I saw the guy gain back 35 pounds in 2 days because he was an idiot, went to Cheesecake Factory and just went to town. And when I was when I was at the Olympia interviewing some of the bodybuilders, I looked at him and I said, "So what's your cheat?" Because it's like a common thing. And one of them looked at me and said, I forgot which one it was, but he looked at me and he says, "Yeah, I know better by now. Like I think I just want water. I just want I want like some nice fruit, like just something easy that I can digest. I'll pull some water back into the body." But I know back in those days because I'm in such a depleted state right now for pretty much 12 to 16 weeks, these guys go into a depleted state and their body is so dehydrated that if they turn around and they start eating burgers at night, you're going to retain water back on. So this is typical yo-yo dieting. This is what society has done for years during the week, going, "Oh, I'm going to go no carbs this week. I've lost 5-6 pounds." And the weekend comes and they go out and they have some drinks and they eat some food. And look, I put 4 pounds back on. And it's this consistent yo-yo dieting. And that's one of the main things I hate about.
And it's so confusing for the body because your insulin output gets so messed up.
Well, why is that important? Explain that, because a lot of people aren't going to understand what that
means. So insulin is the hormone that helps to pull sugar into the bloodstream, right? And it needs to be on a certain regulated rhythm. That's why when we say eat every 2 to 3 hours, that way insulin can be released, pull into the bloodstream, you maintain energy. Insulin and cortisol are also sister hormones, right? So, and cortisol is the hormone that gives you energy in the morning, and it's supposed to basically decline as the day goes on. And so when insulin is out of balance, because either you're eating too much sugar and that body has to output too much insulin, or you're not eating enough, and then basically you overload yourself and then there's too much insulin and it's circulating in the system, the body then has to do more work and cortisol then gets dumped in there because the body thinks it has to do stuff. That's why late night eating isn't good, and that's why people end up waking up in the middle of the night, and that's why people end up with, whether you eat too much at night or whether you eat too little at night, it affects your hormone balance and
Derek,
affect your circadian rhythm.
Derek, how late do you eat?
I'm a bit better. I would say in the last month, I'm a lot better. Like I did make that change because, I'll just actually try to hydrate a little more in the evening. But yeah, I used to be a little more snacky, but I think I cut that out and it made a huge difference, I think, to my sleep as well. So, and I don't wake up too hungry, honestly. So.
Well, you wake up hungry if you eat late. Because then
yeah.
I never thought of that. Sometimes when I get carbs in the evening, I actually sleep better.
I think initially, yes. Well, I think it helps you fall asleep, but I don't know. Like your numbers aren't spectacular, so.
That's another question. Like, but if I'm going to bed at 9, when do you recommend? Because I've heard you shouldn't eat 2 hours before bed, 3 hours before bed. Do you believe that there is a specific number, or do you think it's really individualistic?
I think you should. I think it's individual. I think it could be individualistic. I think my intuition for you is that you should be having like warm greens at night. Maybe you shouldn't be having like rice at night.
Just more greens at night. That makes sense. And why do you say that? Because
the greens have the coenzymes. The greens have the B vitamins. That's going to help you digest.
What if I have them both though?
Yeah. I mean, you can play around.
I'm always having greens. I never not eat greens with them.
Don, did you find it interesting that they said the one thing people needed to supplement with was B12? If they had especially if they had a vegan diet, they needed to supplement with B12. That's the one thing we couldn't get out of the vegetables or the plant-based diet. What do you guys think about that?
B12, true. Most people need a B12 diet if they don't eat meat.
Mhm.
Yeah. If they're not eating meat, most people need B12.
So that's really the only thing that they're missing.
Yeah. Folate, I'd say folic acid also. Methylated folic acid, important. For most people, that's important for immunity too. So it's something that we should talk about.
Interesting.
Yeah, like we had a friend who was vegan for quite a while, and then she had significant health problems, and the doctors actually said you should be having some meat in your diet. What's happening there if somebody's having health problems related to a vegan diet?
Yeah, that is definitely very, very individual. I don't know what the health problems were. I feel like, was it fatigue? Was she just getting sick a lot? Was her menstrual cycle off?
Yeah, I think it was all of the above, kind of like a lot of things just crashed. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very hard to get nutrition from a vegan diet. You need to be really on top of it. It's not just about cutting things out. It's about making sure that you are getting proper nutrition in. You oftentimes need targeted supplementation. A lot of times you need a comprehensive evaluation of your hormones. It's really, when you cut out certain foods, it's a big deal. It's also the main source of protein for vegans are beans, lentils. They're foods
legumes.
They're legumes. So there's a lot of those can be hard to digest for some people.
Aren't they toxic?
I'm not going to say that.
But I mean, the big thing with that
Hold on a minute, I got it.
the big thing with that movie, Don, was that it was like a complete oversimplification across the board. That's what I thought. Like they're saying, oh yeah, vegan diet, don't eat meat. But they didn't really fill in all these blanks that we're hearing about now. Like it's actually complicated. It's actually a lot of work. It's actually, they didn't really fill that part in.
And also you have to consider people's lifestyle and people's context. Because your context affects, that's also nutrition, right? That's also, you have to metabolize that, right? Somebody who has a very easy life is going to metabolize food differently than somebody who's in New York City or who's getting tapped all the time and is running ragged and their stress levels are high. And, stress is also an oversimplification of 100 different things that fall under stress. So I feel like, a lot of vegans who live in Hawaii, it's like a very different type of thing. You're much more calm, and I'm not saying you live in Hawaii, you're definitely calm, but just generally speaking, that like if the general person, beach lifestyle, you're going to be calmer in general. So your microbiome is going to be, you might have a much better microbiome. Your entire digestion system will be easier. Your nervous system will be a little bit more even. Your sympathetic and your parasympathetic nervous system.
The thing that, thinking about it now, because I think even though you haven't seen the movie, you're bringing out a lot of valuable points. But I didn't hear, when I did watch the film, I didn't hear once someone who was on a animal-based diet say, my bloods are great, I feel great. And there are people out there that feel great and that their bloods are great. So I'm curious to see if you take someone whose blood markers are all pretty optimal and they're like, no, I feel awesome. What's going to happen to their markers when you put them on a vegan-based diet? Like, let's look at who they actually fed this diet to. You fed it to some NFL guys with really poor diets. Okay, they were eating Popeyes. Mm-hmm. Okay, you fed it to some collegiate guys that are young. Their recovery is way different at that age. 20 years old. Give me a break. Like most kids, I was eating Taco Bell at that age. You can get in your body whatever you want to get. And you can argue with me all you want, but the reality is a 20-year-old's dealing with food a lot differently than I am. Right. And a dude also. And a dude. Then you're going to an Olympic athlete that's on her last leg at 39 years old. That's her favorite word in her vocabulary right now is recovery. And what she was doing just wasn't working. And it's probably from, she felt like she was overstaying her welcome. She's probably, been in that, doing what she's doing for 20 plus years. Her body's beaten. It's tired, running at one certain level.
How old is she? She's 39?
She's 39.
She could also be in like perimenopause.
Right, exactly. We didn't even talk about that. You're taking
her estrogen progesterone balance is
100%.
Can be totally like changing.
100%.
Yeah.
You're taking a world strongman who is, probably on shit. And when I say shit, I mean anabolics or other stuff that, from the looks of it, was on a really poor diet. I'm sorry, brother. I don't mean to call you out like that, but that's the reality of it. I'm sure you weren't sitting there measuring out macros and picking your fruits and vegetables from a local farm. Let's face it. Your job in life is to move as heavy a weight as possible. So when you start looking at the candidates that they were using, I'm almost like, well, it doesn't tell me anything. And
the thing that I had was they weren't the best. Like when they set out to make this movie, they had to find some athletes, right? And I thought they could have found some better examples. But they had a woman who was running a 400 meters in 52 seconds when the world championships was won in 48 seconds. So that's
for a female.
Yeah. That's miles apart. Right. So what did the three people who ran 48 seconds, what did they eat? Right.
Right.
And then the strongman was like the strongman for Germany. He wasn't the world's strongest man.
He's one of the world's strongest guys. I'm like, I've watched, I can't tell you how many competitions I've watched. I've never heard of this guy.
Yeah. So, and even the ultra marathon guy, you're like, okay, like nobody wants to do that event, right? Like who wants to run the Appalachian Trail for 45 days straight, 2 marathons a day? Like, so he's just extreme in every respect. So,
and how long was he on the diet for? I mean, how long was he on the diet for? Was it something that's been, 3 to 5 years where he was able to turn around and honestly say that, no, this is continuing to work for me? Or is it like a case like Cam Newton or, Tony Gonzalez who tried it, probably felt great out of the gate, and after a while they're saying to themselves, no, there's things I'm just not getting that I need.
Yeah, I thought the performance piece that they did was not very compelling. I thought more of the health stuff, when they started talking about heart disease and all that, where there was more science to support it, was more compelling for the switch to the diet. But
yeah, but what are the test groups? So when you're looking at people, when you're bringing 30 people into a room and you're testing these people out, what quality of meat were they eating their entire life? Were they paying attention to maybe like me or you were? Mm-hmm. Or are these people that are just out eating McDonald's and like, no,
are they exercising? Yeah. What are they doing for exercise? And yeah.
I mean, it seems like the test group was, leave something to be desired, perhaps.
What do you mean, bullshit? You can just say that. God, you're really nice. I need you around me more. So the test group, wow, what'd you say? Leave something to be desired. Leave something to be desired. That's what you say. Bullshit in the dictionary. Leave something to be desired.
Well, there was a guy on YouTube who did a review of the movie, and he made a good point. He said they're just saying being a vegan was what you needed to do in a plant-based diet, but he said there was a lot of plant-based processed foods that they were pushing too, when it was just eat whole vegetables or whole plants, right?
That is a great point. There's such a big difference between whole foods and plant-based foods.
Can you explain that?
Yes, because whole food is fresh, like fresh, from the earth. It's unprocessed for the most part. It's pure.
I was going to say unadulterated, but yeah.
Very good. And unmanipulated or something.
Yeah.
But plant-based, there's all these plant-based products. There's plant-based smoothies, plant-based bars, plant-based
meat substitutes, right? Yeah, like.
Yeah, what about this like Beyond Meat hamburgers and that's because you're too nice, so don't even say it. But how about this? Can you agree with me here? I'm looking at a meat substitute patty that has, in my opinion, a lot of garbage in it. Why is that considered healthy? Should it be or shouldn't it be? And I'm not asking you to call out a brand, but like ingredients are ingredients. If they're bad ingredients in an item, it doesn't mean it's healthy just because it says it's vegan.
I mean, I think that this is one of the big problems and things that we need to look at in the industry is the consumerism aspect of this. just because something's plant-based, just because it's vegan, just because it's, just because it's not meat doesn't mean that it's healthy for you. It just doesn't.
Right.
And there's so many different factors. There's so many different factors, like we talked about. The way the food's prepared, the way it was grown, the nervous system of the person digesting it, because your nervous system affects your hormones, which affects your microbiome, 100%. Which affects your absorption.
100%.
So it's like, it's not just about some fad way of eating, or some packaging it in a way that's trendy. It's just not, it's really trendy to be plant-based now, and it doesn't mean it's healthy. Trendy isn't healthy. It's the same thing.
What's your thoughts on the one of the things they tried to push a lot was that the meat-based diet created a lot of systemic inflammation? What's going on there, and can that happen with other foods that you might be sensitive to or allergic to? Totally.
Meats can definitely create acidity in the body, for sure, depending on the person, and that can create inflammation. Legumes can create inflammation.
Sure.
Chickpeas, I don't eat chickpeas. I recommend most of my clients don't eat chickpeas. A lot of my clients will come in with drinking matcha, and I'm like, matcha's too hot for you. It's causing a ton of inflammation, So I know matcha is one of the trendiest things.
Mm-hmm. When you say hot, you don't mean hot from the temperature of
energetically.
It. Energetically,
it's
right?
Energetically hot.
Right.
A chickpea can be way too energetically, it's just creating too much toxicity / we call it in Ayurveda ama. It's like sludginess, and it's creating this thing for some people can't digest chickpeas. And it's something you would never think of, because hummus is like a staple.
Yeah.
In people's healthy plant-based diets.
Wow.
And I'll have clients coming in literally being like, I don't get it. I have matcha. I'm eating, sweet cream every day. I'm having, cacao with this thing that I bought from so-and-so.
Right.
And they're like, I don't know why I feel like I gained 7 pounds and my skin is breaking out. And then I ask them questions about their life, and they're like, I work 15 hours a day. I never sleep. I'm stressed out about this. I have a fight. I hate my boss. It's like, there's so much that is inflammatory. And it's really about understanding the whole person, and it's really about figuring out, and then it's about moderation. If you're going to eat a ton of meat, maybe, yes, you're going to get acidity.
100%. And that's part of the problem too. When you look at a guy like Kai Green, and I'm going to pull his picture up here.
I think it's really about moderation. You have to just, and it's, yeah.
So if I pull up this guy, which I don't know, Derek, can you see that okay?
Yeah, I can see it enough. Yeah.
You can see Kai Green.
Yeah.
And, this guy, to become close to 300 pounds of that type of body fat, has to be, and I'm going to say it, but this is obvious, had to be on a certain...
What is that veins?
Yeah, that's veins. So he has to be on a certain amount of anabolics. Okay, has to be on a certain amount of anabolics. I'm pulling up another one right now. Right there. Okay, this guy has to be on a certain amount of anabolics, and you have to eat a certain amount of protein to look like it.
You got to ask,
I'm not saying that the amount of food that this guy has to eat is healthy, but I'm also saying that to look like that, there's a cost of doing business.
Totally.
To be a professional golfer, you have to swing a club to one side of the body a specific amount of times. And there's a cost to doing business on the body. The body wasn't meant to rotate asymmetrically that much to one side. You're going to cause wear and tear. A soccer player, a hockey player with their hips. Derek, anything with runners out there, distance runners, is there anything that wear and tear on the body, or are they healthy people?
Oh yeah, you can do too much and get stress fractures, and yeah.
But that's my whole point, is that sometimes
repetitive stress.
And there's a cost of doing business. Kai would never have looked like this if he was on an animal-based diet. Now, what is that saying? Most people don't want to look like that. But the fact that he can turn around now and say, well, I've gone, and I'm just using him as an example, that I've gone plant-based, that's ridiculous. Like fine, your career's over and you're trying to change your lifestyle, and you may have a great response to this for a specific period of time.
Is this what he looks like plant-based?
No.
Oh, okay.
He just went, I could pull it up now. I don't even know what he looks like plant-based now.
Was he taking plant-based or animal-based steroids, Don?
That's very funny. Kai Green, I'm going to look it up as you guys are still talking. But
I just to digress, something you said before about the people in the movie that started eating the plant-based diet, who the sample size, the people that were extremely not healthy or had extreme diets the other way. It's the same thing with training.
Yeah.
It's like if all of a sudden you've been running on the treadmill, if you've been doing biking for like a year, and then all of a sudden you decide to do another exercise, your body's going to respond
100%
differently to that.
Kai hasn't gone plant-based yet. He's considering going plant-based. Arnold Schwarzenegger was the one on there that was saying, I ate so much animal protein and I just, because he kept going back to, the commercials, the ads, to be a manly man. I never ate animal protein because of a commercial or because I felt like it was going to, improve my masculinity. Mm-hmm. I ate animal protein because, one, I enjoyed the taste of it. And two, there's a specific way that I want to look. Mm-hmm. And for me to look that way, it's very difficult for me to get a level of protein through consuming rice and beans. Right. And there's other things.
Biochemistry. I mean, I took 4 semesters of chemistry, of biochemistry, in my undergrad and in my master's. It's like you do not get the same protein structures, from meat as you do from plant-based.
Well, what is it? There's the branched chain amino acids. So no, but what I think there's something like leucine, isoleucine, valine are your 3 BCAAs. Is that or yeah, and I don't, but you're missing something. So plant protein and animal protein. I have read some research saying that pea proteins.
Pea proteins are good.
But so a pea protein's amino acid profile is closer. Mm-hmm. They were saying to whey or animal, but they're still specific. I mean, how many peas would you have to consume?
Well, and if you have legumes and rice together, that's a complete protein, right? So that's why kitcheries. Macrobiotic diets, the beans, the black beans, and then the rice. Often, that makes a complete protein. But some people don't digest the grain well.
Do you think at times someone should look at someone like Derek or myself? We've been consuming animal protein our entire lives. Should we, for a week, 2 weeks, jump on a plant-based diet? Do you recommend that, or do you don't even think it's necessary? I'm just curious.
I don't think you're going to find anything after 2 weeks anyway.
How much would you, what do you think? You would need a month to 2 months type of thing?
2 months.
2 months? And what do you think I would find?
I don't know. I think it would be interesting.
You'd be really bored.
It'd be interesting to see if your energy level would be different. You might feel differently because you'll digest animals different than you digest plants. So initially you might actually feel, you might feel lighter. But again, you might...
So isn't there a placebo effect in all of this too?
But this is my whole point. So upstairs when we were sitting talking, she's like, listen, you're consuming a little bit too much raw vegetables, which I didn't really think about because I'm eating spinach from salad and I'm eating a lot of them, at least 2 cups, 3 times a day. She's like, you need more cooked vegetables. So if I was to get on a plant-based diet and would be eating cooked vegetables,
is that 2/3, 1/3?
And I started feeling better. Is me feeling better coming down to the fact that I'm not eating animal protein, or is me feeling better coming back down to the fact that I'm not eating raw vegetables anymore? Right.
And
that's what we don't know.
And then
that's what I'm trying to say about
how much does how you cook them, like steamed versus pan fried? Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. The evidence that he put out there is bullshit. Right. It's complete horseshit. Because no, seriously, you could call it what you want. What'd you call it?
Leaves more to be desired.
Yeah, whatever. Totally what. But it's bullshit because we weren't looking at other variables that could have been a much bigger factor than removing the quality of meat. I mean, listen, when he was saying Popeyes to a plant-based diet, the plant-based foods that he was giving them, that they were cooking for him was organic, because they were saying this is the highest quality plant-based. They can't go off of it. In one study, they said, we're giving them the highest quality meat in this first study in a burrito. One we're giving chicken, one we're giving beef, one we're giving pork. And they ate that, and they put that band around the circumference of their penis, and they sat there and they measured erections for that night. And then the next day, they removed beef, and they removed chicken.
They might have been just excited because they were doing something new.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't put a band around my penis. I don't know what kind of response I would get.
I know, but I also know, like, what if the guys, what if there's something, these are 20-year-old kids, maybe the first night that they went and they had that thing put around their penis, that
they went on the internet.
no. Maybe they slept with their girlfriend the night before, or had sex, or masturbated, or did something that day of, and then because they were being tested, they were a little freaked out. They're like, I'm not touching it. Let's see what happens. And then suddenly, like, sorry, like, yeah, you're gonna get more, especially at that age. For Christ's sake, couldn't keep it down at 20.
A stiff breeze will change that.
just the object around. Oh my God, I'm not going to say anything else.
We got to get our hands on a couple of those devices, though, Don. Like, we're competing with sleep. Why don't we compete with erections? Come on.
I can start doing that. I mean, at this point now, I don't care. What does it matter? It's all good. All right, so I think right now, do we have a conclusion? I'm not even going to say we have a conclusion yet. I think you just got to listen to this and our evidence. I still would love you to go see the movie.
I'm going to watch it.
And I'd love to bring you on.
Do it this weekend.
Yeah, maybe we'll jump back on, Derek, next week. I know.
Yeah.
No, Friday afternoon I can still do. I'm still here, so maybe maybe you want to meet us here Friday, and then we'll.
As long as I don't have jury duty.
Oh yeah, we'll figure it out. Regardless, one of the next episodes, we're gonna have the amazing Alana Kessler on with us. So where can everyone find you online?
Oh, you can find me on my website at www.bewellbyak.com. You can also find me on Instagram as the Mindful Nutrition Coach.
I think I'm going to follow you now. I think I'm following you already. I don't know. The Mindful.
I followed you yesterday, both of you. Yeah.
Oh my God, I need to step it up. The Mindful.
It's a lot of letters. Let's see.
I know, it is. I actually just changed my handle. I was Be Well by Alana Kessler.
I'm following you now.
Thanks.
I got you.
Thank you.
I'm liking a pic too.
Amazing.
Oh, you're a yogi. I totally forgot.
I am, yeah.
This is impressive.
Oh, there you go.
All right, so listen, this is what I want to do. I want to bring Alana Kessler on after maybe in a week or two, depending on her jury duty. And I might be on jury duty too. I can't believe I might have to go. I think I got a call on the 8th to see if I have to be there on the 12th.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, unbelievable.
Oh.
But I'll let you know. But I thought that was very good today.
Me too.
I thought we at least we gave our opinions on things. What I hate about it is, and in my opinion, I'm sure in your opinion, there are a lot of people out there that are struggling from a nutrition standpoint. And because there's so many different opinions, keto, fasting, Atkins diet, paleo diet, Mediterranean diet, there's so many different diets. I mean, today I had someone come to me, ask me about a training protocol, and I had no idea what it was. And when he broke it down to me, I'm like, yeah, that's like a Tabata training program. It was almost the exact same. So people are literally recreating shit just to be able to sell something. And there's people out there that really need to eat high quality foods, and they need a balance, or they might not be eating enough. And now all you're doing is, because of talking about one of your short-term experiences and, a little bit of what you think is valid research, you're now scaring half the planet away from consuming something that maybe someone really needs to be consuming. It might save their life. I mean, who knows? I mean, there's a lot of things in animal protein, I'm sure you could break it down, that the human body might need, that someone who doesn't have access to good quality vegetables and grains definitely won't get. The NFL players that they were showing on that video had a chef who was able to turn around and shop locally and serve dishes with spices and turmeric and all this great stuff on it, that you're suddenly like, wow, they're getting a real balance.
That's what I was saying. It's about nutrient integrity. It's really about nutrient integrity. And about the whole person, and it's about understanding that nutrition isn't just food, it's how you metabolize your environment and what environment you're in and how everything is being absorbed and digested. And you have to look at the whole person, not just the content that's being inputted, but the context. And it constantly is changing because everything's changing. Right? Where our cells are changing constantly, the seasons are changing constantly. We're all nature. All the energies are changing constantly. So there's, so one thing is not going to be right for everyone, depending on your age, depending on where you live. The way the soil's being utilized, like I said, and the ability for the nutrients to be, optimized within the food. It's not as simplistic as it's being made out to be.
Yeah, just give up animals and just give up animals and you're fine. It's just
and different stages of your life.
Yeah,
like
it's
you're talking about
ridiculous.
this woman.
It's ridiculous.
It really depends. And this is just a whole nother topic, but when it comes to fertility, I've had different clients where, it really depends. It depends on what it depends on where you are in your life, on what you're looking to actualize. It's really not that.
They didn't touch on like the socioeconomic implications of like what's available, what's affordable too.
Correct.
So.
Yeah, it's exactly. Yeah, that's another huge topic.
Right. And we can also, I'm going to close on this. Looking at the majority of the people out there, and you see it with gluten-free, what else are they doing in their life that's much lower hanging fruit? Like, are you out 4 nights a week drinking? And then suddenly you're going gluten-free, or you're suddenly deciding to go vegan, but you're destroying your body with toxins and alcohol. And, they're just focusing on a lot of the wrong things. It's like, all right, like you want to talk about a weight loss pill, but you're getting 3 hours of sleep a night. It's a perfect example. So
also gluten-free, there's so many products out there that are gluten-free that are horrible. I feel like I have clients come into me and they're gluten-free, but they're probably eating such low, like the quality of carbohydrates is just way too much. Just because, remember, gluten is a protein.
Right.
In grains and in starch. So it's not.
A cookie is still a cookie.
Yeah.
I try and tell people, like when you asked me earlier, like what do you like to have as a treat? I say gluten-free cookies because I can eat it and not feel like shit.
And you can also
still
maybe
a cookie.
have one.
Right. Or maybe I'll have the whole thing.
Maybe fine, but you can. Because you're like, because you're pressing the next day.
Yeah, well, yeah, she's going to have me smoking incense soon. Doing this one.
Oh, we did some breath work today.
We did.
And you liked it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. My nose is all messed up. I got enough surface area there anyway. All right. Well, everyone, Alana Kessler, think the world of her. My coach, someone who's helping me out right now. So check her out in the area on the social platforms that she gave earlier. We're going to be coming back to you with some more information. And I'm excited for you to see the movie. I don't think any of your opinions are going to change. I just want Derek Hansen, I love you. World class. Just great guy. What can I say? World class run coach in Vancouver who sleeps a lot better than I do. I think it's just because you're in Vancouver. So.
Probably.
Yeah, he's in Vancouver.
Yeah, like in the mountains right now, breathing like perfect air. I'm about to go out and run into the melee of like, there's war going on Broadway right now.
Your air quality is high-end nutrition over
there.
Yeah. I'm gonna go kayak and then climb a tree or something like that.
Enjoy it. Eat a banana. It's lower glycemic.
So fucking tree for us.
Oh, does that work?
Yeah.
All right, brother. I'll see you guys till next time. Thanks.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.